Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Ilaria Pirovano from the Sales and Marketing Department at Uppwise, and I will be moderating this session today. Today, we will delve into the top strategic portfolio management investment trends for 2024. Please feel free to put any questions that you have during this session into the webinar panel, and we will discuss each of your questions at the end. I will now hand over to Gioacchino Gaudioso, CEO at Uppwise. Joe, it's up to you.
Great. Thanks, Ilaria, and thanks everyone for attending this webinar today. So the title of the webinar today is Top Strategic Portfolio Management Investment Trends in 2024. It's an interesting topic because as a PPM vendor, as a strategic portfolio management vendor, as a technology company, we are looking to trends and evolution of this market very, very carefully, because trends are obviously driving our roadmap for products enhancement, for product evolution during the next period. It's interesting because there are different ways of looking to the market, because if we look to the trends of the market from the analyst perspective, they are, I say, ahead of the market of a certain number of months or even a certain number of years. But then what we perceive from the interaction with the market, with the clients, with the leads, with the prospect during the software selection processes is something which is slightly different, is a bit behind in terms of expectation and trends. And I will try to compare what is happening outside in the real day-by-day activity and interaction with the customer, with the projection of the market trends, which is given by analysts and thought leaders. So let's start with a brief introduction about Uppwise. So I'm Gioacchino Gaudioso, Joe for everyone, and I'm the CEO of Uppwise, which is a PPM vendor. Now is a strategic portfolio management vendor, adaptive project management reporting vendor, and collaborative work management vendor. So we are in this space with a competence which is coming from a number of years in the PPM domain, and we are currently developing and releasing solutions which are targeting the last evolution of our market. We are part of a group with offices in Italy, in Monza, which is in the north of Italy, Cagliari in Sardinia, with a consistent presence in India, where we have our development company, which is based in Noida, close to New Delhi. We are a small vendor with approximately 60 people working within Uppwise, but with a vertical competence on strategic portfolio management. So we are focusing on this market exclusively, and we are putting in this market, a longer experience that we have gained working with international company, multinational company in different domains, in CPG, IT, banking, insurance, and fashion, all companies of different size, different dimensions, with different personalities, and with a common denominator that is that are projects which are executed within the organization in different business units. As a vendor, we are currently recognized by Gartner in the major quadrant for SPM, for strategic portfolio management. We have been recognized also in the APM major quadrant in 2022, while we were not confirmed in 2023. But our major focus today is on strategic portfolio management. What we do, as I said, we are providing solutions to cover the full cycle of defining strategy and executing strategy within the company. So our solutions are made of three products, which are respectively SPM, APM, and CWM. SPM is covering the top part of the cycle, where we are defining strategy. So defining strategy by embedding into formal strategy the vision of the company, of the enterprise, evolution over the next years, through the definition of strategy, strategic pillars, objectives, key goals, etc. Within SPM, we are also managing all the demand process, which is feeding the portfolio modeling and composition process. And finally, we are also supporting the high-level overview of the capacity planning. So we can provide a comprehensive view about the resource capacity and resources bottlenecks. With the IPM module, we are say transforming the vision. We are putting the vision that we have defined at the strategy level into execution by identifying, planning projects which have been go through the demand process and now have been converted into projects. Okay, by applying adaptive project management and reporting practices, fully supported by a number of advanced capabilities. Finally, with CWM, our intention is to provide the team, which is actually doing the day-by-day activities over projects, initiatives, epics, etc., to work with into a simplified and easy-to-use environment, which is reflecting the way of working they have in their daily journey within the organization, within the projects. So CWM is a software application which is designed to support teamwork management, agile work management, using very simplified interface like Kanban boards, lot of communication and collaboration through notification, comments, discussion over the different topics the team is working on, and everything is perfectly integrated. So it means that the teamwork done in CWM is completely capitalized at project level and ultimately at portfolio and strategy level. Everything we manage within Uppwise in terms of transactional data is then converted into comprehensive and powerful dashboards, which can be built using our internal BI modules that we call Uppwise Analytics, which is leveraging a number of data sets available into a data mart, an analytical data mart. And through this BI module, users can build their own dashboards. Obviously, we are talking about our users, which can build dashboards, publish these dashboards, and make them available to different roles within the organization. So the BI module of Uppwise is quite powerful to represent data within the organization and to expose everything is happening in the other module to different stakeholders at different level of the enterprise. Obviously, we are also able to provide the same set of information to external BI tools. We can be the source for BI tools like Power BI, Click, Tableau, etc., etc. If the client is using its own BI solution. Just to summarize in a nutshell, with Uppwise, we are connecting strategy to execution, to operation, because we are providing different modules at different level of the organization to support the work of the different stakeholders with the best functionality that best suits their role and their expectation in terms of usability and visibility within a comprehensive SPM, APM, and CWM solution. Having said that, I was mentioning at the beginning of my presentation the fact that as a PPM, as an SPM vendor, we are forced to innovate. We are forced to introduce within our solution innovation, the new technology, the new market trends, etc., etc. Which are the sources that we look to for innovating our solution? Obviously, the primary source is the market trends, both in terms of technology, in terms of new processes, new methodological approach, and ultimately new functionality required from the market. We have a lot of interactions with analysts, because the analysts obviously they are lucky because they are meeting and interacting with a number of companies in different domains, different industry, different market, different regions, and therefore they have a sort of privileged view over the market, and we listen to them to learn what they are learning from the market. We have a lot of contribution from clients and partners. Clients are the bigger expert on the utilization of our solution, and they have to face day-by-day operational challenge. They have to face a number of challenges which are not just related to the aseptic methodology or functionality of the software tool, but they have to deal with internal resistance for tool adoptions. They have to deal with lack of maturity within the organization. They have to deal with a number of factors which we cannot always simulate in our development laboratories. So the voice of the customers is fundamental for us to touch the base with the real day-by-day life of our users. Okay, so we listen a lot to them, and we learn from them, and we try to embed in our solution good inputs which are coming from them. Obviously, we have our own vision. Otherwise, our product will be, completely driven from customer, from market, and will be similar to other products. So we have the tendency of looking into the market, but then interpreting what is coming from these interaction with the market, with our own vision, with our own personality from SPM, from strategic portfolio management point of view. And this is what makes, of course, Uppwise different from other solutions over the market. Obviously, we look to the market from a commercial perspective, because what you have to consider is that we are daily interacting with leads, with potential leads which are landing on our, for instance, on our website, asking for information, asking for presentations, etc. Prospects, so leads which are converted into prospects, and the interaction for the prospect is interesting and is enriching a lot. No, our perception of the market, because you discover that there are a lot of different ways of doing the same thing. So interaction with prospect is quite interesting. And then RFIs and RFPs. In our experience, the RFP processes, are very standard these days, and everyone is using to kill vendors with a lot of questions, with a lot of queries, with a lot of functionality requests, must-have features, etc., etc. And for us, this is a good way to benchmark what we have in mind in terms of product evolution, with what is the expectation from people which are actually looking to the market and probably buying an SPM solution. So this is a fundamental asset for us in terms of decision for the trends, for the innovation trends. Obviously, there are other sources which are thought leaders, competitors, because we used to look to good things that competitors are working on, are doing, etc., etc. And this is the way. Now we build our convincement about the trends, about the roadmap, about the direction that we have to give to our product. But then we discover that sometimes we have different perception of the priorities if we compare our perceptions with the perception of the analysts, for instance. And this is we have done some analytical exercise on this, and we have sort of built a level of priority which is coming from the sources which I have I'm just presenting to you. And we have discovered that the priorities which are detected from the interaction with the market, with the client, etc., are slightly different from what we see in terms of priority in the analysts research and documents and presentations. So, for instance, the sensation from our side is that there is still a tendency to work on, let's say, traditional component, traditional PPM asset, rather than looking to very advanced SPM and APM capabilities and features today. Okay, this is obviously in this moment I'm presenting this slide to you, and our analysis are based on the actual and on the past. We are not looking to the future like analysts are doing. But what we see is that the first topic that everyone is looking for these days is demand and portfolio. The second one is the resource management in general, so the possibility of managing resources and capacity within the portfolio and at the enterprise level. The third one is related to hybrid, agile, and then going down dashboards, project financials, integration with integrations with a big focus on ERP integrations, workflow automation, timesheet. Timesheet is something which has been say classified as something old, which will disappear from the market since a number of years. But timesheet is still in high demand. In each and every RFP, we are still seeing a lot of demand about the possibility of say running a timesheet solution within the organization, within the department. Risk management is the other priority that I'm sorting the priority by number of requests on these topics, of course, from our side. The risk management, or broadly the concept of RAID, risk assumptions, issues and dependencies, which is a practice which is normally part of all the RFPs we are seeing. Strategy and OKR framework is not is emerging, but is not a top priority. When we run, say, an initial presentation of our solution, prospects are interested in looking into the strategy part of the solution, but not as a top priority. It's something that they say typically, okay, strategy is interesting, but this will come later in our journey to SPM. Okay, first is demand and portfolio, then strategy, and eventually OKR frameworks. AI PPM. So I'm sure that a lot of you will be surprised about the fact that this is not the top priority in our interactions, but this is exactly what we are seeing. Okay, we are working a lot on AI, because this is the future of strategic portfolio management will strongly say be related to the enablement of AI features. Okay, but what we see today that AI is not in high demand yet within the organization. Is maybe sometime the last question in the functionality capability of the solution, where they say, are you working, are you enabling, are you planning, do you have any plan on AI, etc. But there is not yet the capabilities for the customer to say prioritize AI, because probably they do not have yet idea of how this can be used on day-by-day activities. And the adaptivity concept, which is a priority, in the language of the market, in the language of the analyst. And again, we see that there is still a stronger focus on traditional practice, and this concept of adaptive project management, adaptive portfolio management is still growing, but is not yet a priority. And as you can see here, I've compared our ranking with the ranking, from the analysts, from the market, from the thought leaders. And as you can see, the top priorities are aligned, because what we see here is exactly what the analyst sees. But then we have a huge difference on other areas, because adaptivity is a priority, AI is a top priority, strategy is a strong priority, while timesheet is something which is not in the radar as a priority. There is less focus on financials, less focus on ERP integration, but high focus on other integrations with collaboration tool teams, with Jira, DevOps, this kind of stuff. But the integration of ERP, which connects the SPM, PPM solution to the enterprise financials, is not sometimes seen as a big priority. Having said that, the focus of the webinar today is on the first three topics, okay? I will try to drive you through the kind of requests that we are receiving in terms of demand and portfolio, resource, hybrid, and agile. So let's see which are the top priority for portfolio leaders in terms of portfolio visibility. So what we are detecting is that portfolio leaders are looking to idea management as a pre-demand stage. So they are focusing a lot on the possibility of having a structured and say formalized demand process, which is workflow driven, where the workflow can be a multi-role workflow, is a role-based workflow, fully automated. Sometimes the workflow is complex there is a complexity due to the different routings of the workflow based on the size of the proposed initiative in terms of say effort or in terms of investment which are requested. But there is also I would say a confirmed tendency to separate the idea management process from the demand process. So the idea management is like a sort of pre-demand stage, okay? So there is a pre-demand stage where the ideation is happening within the organization with less complexity, with less formality, with less say rigidity in the workflow. But I'm seeing that companies are trying to capture the spontaneous attitude of people to suggest ideas in a certain domain, and then these ideas are prioritized using a very social approach, and only those ideas which are say considered to be valid ideas are converted into a demand object within the strategic portfolio management solution environment. So it means that you can collect hundreds of ideas from different sources. Maybe these ideas are in the most organized situation connected to strategic intents, to objectives, to some pillars of the strategy, are collected through ideation campaigns, and then only few of these ideas are converted into demand objects. The advantage here is that you can increase the quality and of the data related to the demand process, because what is landing in the demand process is something that has been already pre-digested from the organization and pre-validated from the organization, and then the demand process is can focus on the validation of the initiative through a proper business case with all the say the formality and the right level of information to get the business case approved. So this is something that is is emerging as a tendency, as a trend, and we are obviously supporting this as much as we can. Portfolio composition tools for ranking and prioritizing the portfolio. This is another trend that we are seeing. So the desire of the portfolio leaders to have the possibility of scoring, ranking the initiatives they have in the backlog based on objective evaluation criteria, not on on subjective criteria which are based on the sentiment of executive. No, they are looking for an evaluation matrix where they can rank and prioritize the projects based on a standard model, based on a standard ranking model, which is applied consistently across all the initiative demands you have in the backlog at a certain point. In this way, they are sure that they are prioritizing based on the real value of the initiative, the real benefits that the initiative can bring to the strategy and ultimately to the organization, not on sentiments. After the the initiative prioritization within the portfolio, after the portfolio modeling, okay, the portfolio leaders are looking to scenario management, the possibility of building on the fly multiple scenarios to incorporate change in the context outside the company, inside the company, to simulate to run what if analysis, to simulate what is going on by comparing multiple scenarios and then choosing the best scenario to which is best adapting to the changing context, for instance, which is providing the best level of benefits to the company, which is impacting positively value realization within the portfolio, etc., etc. And this is another key request that we are receiving these days. And the increased visibility at portfolio strategy, multi-portfolio level. So the single portfolio is not is not longer enough to provide a proper visibility over the health of the project execution within the organization. But what you are managing within a single portfolio needs to be, visualized into a wider context, which could be, a collection, a multi-portfolio view, which could be the strategic view, where you have the contribution of all the portfolios to the strategies. This is what we are, listening from our interactions. Now, in terms of adoption, is not easy. It's not always easy, but what we are seeing that sometimes clients are struggling in the adoption of proper, portfolio practice due to a number of reasons. We have collected here some of these reasons. This is not the full list of reasons, of course, but we have collected the main reason that we are seeing based on our experience. Like, for instance, the first one is indeed the organization maturity and the lack of portfolio management knowledge. So there is no enough knowledge on portfolio practice. What is portfolio management? Which is the ultimate scope of portfolio management? Which is the importance, the real importance of portfolio management, of a rigorous portfolio management within the organization? Enterprise executive endorsement. So sometimes the commitment from the top executives is not there, or is not properly, properly forced down into the organization, and therefore, we see that companies start using portfolio management, but then they are going back to focus mainly on execution rather on structured portfolio management. There is a confusion, sometimes a semantic confusion about portfolio in a lot of organization, and also in a lot of SPM solution. Portfolio is still considered like a simple cluster of projects. So you can have a portfolio which is a collection of projects, simply that. And for us, that is not a portfolio management, but is a multi-project view. Is a simple multi-project view where we are grouping projects into a single view based on a common attribute, based on a cluster of information. This is not portfolio management, as I say. It is multi-project management or multi-project reporting. For us, portfolio management is a practice where you have a flow of execution of the portfolio management activities which are happening in the organization. Objective ranking and prioritization model not applied during modeling and scenario selection. So it means that despite the request of the company to implement a ranking model, to implement a formal way of prioritizing projects, still a lot of organization, in a lot of organization, the modeling of the portfolio is based on, subjective evaluations rather than objective evaluations. And at the end of the day, this is not adding any value to the portfolio prioritization, to the scenarios prioritization, etc. Then a portfolio, what we see again is that the role of the portfolio is sometimes reduced to a basic status reporting only. Is not the portfolio is not the place where the portfolio manager has the control over what is happening on the execution, but you know, not just to the status report with the key health indicators of the project, the red, amber, and green indicators over the status health of the project, the fact that the project is delayed or is in extra cost. No, the portfolio manager need to drill down into what is going on in the project from the risk management point of view. He has to look to the to the risk at portfolio level, initiative level, because you know, the risk scoring is one of the first indicators to look if you want to be sure that your portfolio will succeed. Okay, what you have in the portfolio is doable because the level of risk is low. And then obviously you have to look to financial information broadly, because the portfolio manager is interacting with the top executive, with the people that has decided to invest into a certain portfolio composition, and therefore they want to see the returns on their investment. They want to see first that their investments are under control, and second that there is a return on the investment. And for this reason, the portfolio managers, the portfolio leaders, they need to look into the value realized with the portfolio. Value realized, which is not just about financial benefits, but is also about non-tangible benefits. There is today a strong focus on ESG indicators, and the portfolio manager has to be sure that the composition of the portfolio, the portfolio scenario is managing, has a good sustainability impact. Okay, so the portfolio management role is something which is not a simple status reporting, but is the interface between the execution and the strategy, between the execution and the top executive within the organization. And therefore the data that the portfolio manager has to leverage on is not just about few indicators, but you know, we need to deep dive into financial risks, issues. Everything can alert us on the fact that the portfolio health overall is good or not good. Confusion among portfolios and programs. So we see that there is still a big confusion about the concept of portfolio and programs. Programs and portfolio for some organizations are the same entity. While we know that, you know, in our solution, for instance, portfolio can be related can contain multiple programs. Okay, while a project can be associated with a single portfolio in multiple scenarios, but with a single portfolio, we can collect, you know, projects which are coming from multiple programs, and typically the program has to be used to group together say projects which belongs to a mega project, or projects which are you know, serving the same program direction, like for instance a technology direction or an innovation direction, etc., etc. So these are the consideration about portfolio visibility. So if you want to look into the you want to start looking into portfolio management, what you have to consider is a stronger, you know, way of feeding the portfolio through a good ideation and demand process. You have to make sure that you have everything you need to prioritize projects, in an objective way, and then a fantastic tool for your running simulation and choosing the best scenario, which brings the maximum value, the best value to the organization. Let's move to the next topic, resource management. A bit simple here, because you know, what we are asking, what our customers are asking is related to resource profiling, because you know, when we are talking about resource, what we have to consider is that our solution is managing information that in a lot of situations are also managed within other systems within the company. So we need to be to provide capabilities for profiling resources at the best. In terms of a resource can be profiled by identifying if is an external resource, an internal resource, which can introduce some differences in the process. If the resource is part of a certain business unit, so the association with department, business unit, company within the group, if we are talking about a large group, the resource needs to be profiled with skill, job title. On the skill, maybe we want to also look at the seniority of the resource. Why? Because all this information can facilitate the selection of the best resources to match the project requirements. Okay, so when we are building the team composition over a project to select the best resources, choosing them using skill, location, all the possible profiling information will facilitate the identification of the best resource together with the availability of the resource. Because when we are looking to a resource assignment, the first information we should have from the SPM solution or from the APM solution is this a resource available in this period? Because if it's not available, we are just adding pain to the resource management because we are overloading the resource. So resource profiling and the ability eventually to integrate the resource directory with HR systems where a lot of information are already available. Availability management, managing a proper availability profile for the resources within the organization. From this point of view, I would say that we have to consider that in the availability concept, the availability at resource level, team level, and also the impact of generic resources on the availability. Another very interesting features that we have seen growing in terms of interest is the top-down resource planning. So the ability to plan resources to assign, say, roles, generic resources to the project during the resource demand process, and then defining converting these generic role assignment with with named resources using a top-down process. Okay, and this is something which is quite interesting because you can have a very high-level plan of resources at the beginning of your project, and then the resource manager, the department manager, in general, the resource owner can start from this high-level demand of resource during the project execution and assign the right profiles, the right names through a top-down approach. Okay, where the initial assignment is a sort of bucket which can be then further refined during the planning phases of the project. Capacity, obviously, because we need to understand the capacity at different level of the organization, capacity by department, by business unit, by skill, by job title. So what is needed now and in the future in terms of resources to support the ambition of the company, the ambitions that were expressed in the strategy, in the portfolio, and in the projects. Are we able to maintain what we have promised in terms of strategy and in terms of portfolio and project execution to the top management? And obviously, to make sure that what we are promising is doable and is feasible, we have to look to the capacity. Here there is something that probably I've missed in the list, but again, when talking about resources, a lot of companies are using timesheets. Okay, again, this can look a bit old in terms of approach. Is a bit is something that is part of boomers vision, but timesheet is still something which is quite important for a number of reasons, because resource planning without control is nothing. I mean, you can plan all the resources you want, you can do all the best resource plan you have in mind, etc., etc. But then at the end of the day, if you are not able to control what you have planned and to validate what you have planned and to learn from what is actually happening in terms of usage of the resources, the planning is just for simulation purpose, not for execution purpose. Why we are struggling together with our customer in a proper resource management adoption within the company. There is a lack of resource planning. Resource planning it means that very often what we see in the organization is that the resource planning is done at very high level without going down to named resource planning, and this is not always enough to have a proper control over the resource assignment. So there are there is just in most of the in a lot of situations we see that we cannot talk about resource planning even. It's just staffing, but it's not resource planning. Staffing of a team, staffing of a project, but it's not resource planning. There is no transparency, so there is no openness in the teams, in the resource group to be transparent in resource assignment. There is still this tendency of hiding which is the real needs in terms of efforts over a certain project, and this is impacting a lot the quality of the capacity information that we are analyzing at department, company level. Okay, because if there is no transparency, there is not the right level of assignment, then you cannot say have a proper level of quality in the data. Resource allocation is not time phased. Again, I know, I understand that time phasing the resource allocation is time consuming, is sometimes is a complex activity, which is prone to changes, because if you change a task, maybe duration, you have to change also the phasing. But there is no way, if you want to know which will be the capacity, which are the capacity bottleneck, which will be the capacity bottleneck, in the last quarter of 2024, you need to plan with a time-phased approach. Otherwise, this is not possible. And then again, in a lot of organizations, there is no control over the resource, the actual resource utilization. And again, planning without controlling is, from my point of view, in a lot of situations, a waste of time. Let's move to the next, target agile support. Yeah, this is a very interesting area, again, in terms of top priority. We have worked a lot in the last years to implement in our solution agile frameworks, because it was there have been a period 2-3 years ago where agile frameworks were sort of must to have as a requirement, as a functionality. The support of agile framework a must to have in terms of capability and functionalities within an SPM solution. What we have seen, what we have learned from the experience, from the market in the last couple of years, is that there is a deprioritization of adoption of agile framework. Okay, so it's not longer a priority. It's not that there is not the perceived need, etc., but it's not the top priority. The adoption of different frameworks for agile. With the, for instance, we saw that SAFe was the main framework in terms of adoption from a number of organizations. Was indicated like the most say used and to be supported framework, but now it's not like that. So what we see is that instead there is a need to look to the agile at project level, not at like with a scaled agile approach at the enterprise level. Again, I'm not saying that this is not important, we are not supporting it, or will not be there in the future, but this is what we are seeing today. But there is agile at project level. Sorry, I think that here there was a mistake in this slide with the copy and paste. I'm sorry for that, but I will tell you the right content in the struggling column here. So what we are seeing is that instead there is agile at project level, mostly a agile approach to integrate agile team into enterprise consolidated framework. So it means agile, it means that we are seeing a lot of organizations working with a hybrid solution where a project is a combination of waterfall and agile practice. So where the overall project, which is in the portfolio, is managed with a waterfall as a waterfall entity, but then within this waterfall entity, there are parts of the project which are managed like agile. And then the adoption of agile framework, as I said, is not a priority. Why they are struggling? Again, sorry for the wrong contents, but yeah, normally companies are struggling because there is a disconnection between the portfolio management, between waterfall project management and agile practice. So the teams are working with their own tools like Jira, DevOps, any other tool, but then everything they are doing is simply not capitalized at company level. So they are doing their own job, they are working with their own data, they are managing their own teams, but then these teams are completely disconnected. Okay, and this is the main reason why the agile is not even seen sometimes from the portfolio leaders. They have no contribution sometimes from the work which is happening below in the teams using agile practice. So the way we are seeing company trying to to reach a situation where agile project management is somehow well implemented in the organization is sort of represented in this schema. Okay, is a bit confused, but I'll try to explain as much as I can during the remaining part. So what we have to consider is that agile teams can be many within the organization. We have agile release trains, release teams, which are working on different projects simultaneously. Okay, they are working on different features, apex features, stories, which are maybe part of different streams of initiatives. Okay, and far more, these teams are sometimes using different tools. So this is something that we are seeing, in our customer organization. Some teams are working with Jira. Some of them are using Azure DevOps. Some of them are using our solution, which is Uppwise CWM. Okay, and we, as an SPM provider, we have to make sure that what is being managed within the teams, okay, despite they are using Jira, Azure, and Uppwise CWM, is capitalized first at project level, then at program level, and portfolio level. Okay, so we have built in our solution the ability to connect the same project, okay, the same epic to multiple sources, to multiple teams, because an agile team is not necessarily working by project, but is working on by features on multiple projects. And therefore here we have to make sure that we can connect the same project, the same project entity to multiple agile sources. Okay, here we have an example of Epic, which is related to features which are managed in Jira, in Azure. Some of them are managed in SPM, and also going up in terms of aggregation of this information. What is happening in the project can be then seen into the context of a program. Okay, and the program can be a lean program where you implement the typical lean program management practice, like for instance program increments with the prioritization of features, which are then the increment windows the team needs to be considered when planning their sprints. Okay, so we can manage this approach lean programs with this pure lean approach, or we can have programs where you have a combination of agile practice with waterfall projects, okay? Because this is still happening very, very frequently in the organization where we are working, okay? Obviously, the team here can work with the practice they prefer to work with. So with the tool they are using, with the way they are organizing the work. But for us, okay, by building the right connection between the project and the teams, we can capitalize, you know, information and data which are coming from this team from a different angle, from different tools. The project in our model obviously is the bus connecting the agile, the teamwork with the enterprise, because again, when you are starting a project within an organization, behind that project there is a decision to go with that project, to assign investment to the projects, and to say based on expectation and value realization promises, okay? So now we have to make sure that we have a connector between the project and the portfolio and the strategy. Otherwise, everything is done within the single team is not visible, is completely invisible to the decision makers. So what I'm saying is that the project for us is the vehicle to connect the execution to the portfolio. On the projects, we have the management of all the entities which are not managed within the team, like financials, like risk, like issues, like maybe issues are managed in the team, but like say values, benefits, etc. And we use what is coming from the team to update the status of the project. Furthermore, everything is happening at the demand level. In the demand process is managed, you know, by initiatives. So in the demand process, we are looking to the initiative as a whole entity, okay, not going down to the team level, of course. And this is happening in at the project level. And this is same for each type of project. So from the say demand process point of view, this is the same for each and every project. Obviously, multiple programs can go inside a single portfolio to build a comprehensive view at the portfolio level. Okay, so this is the way we used to connect portfolio, programs, projects, and agile work within the teams. What you have to consider as the last stuff is that obviously when you are starting the demand process, this demand process can be different project by project based on the characteristic of the project, based on the size of the project. So you can route differently your demand items based on and you can simplify demand processes based on the actual need you have in terms of approval process. Plus, I was, you know, is not completely true what I said before, that all the demand process is managed at project level within the portfolio, because we have also a demand process which is happening inside the lean portfolio when you have to prioritize features into a certain program increment. So if you are going with a pure program management lean approach, then you are again in the situation where you need to prioritize the features into program increments, and therefore is a sort of demand within the portfolio itself. Before closing, I want just to highlight some other top priorities that we detected from the interaction from the company. Embedded dashboards and reporting capabilities. So what we are seeing is that there is an increased demand of the possibility for the user to build their own dashboards. Obviously, we do not expect all the users to spend their daily routine by building dashboard and reports, but there are what the customers are looking for is the possibility for a power user to design and build their own dashboard and report starting from standard data source provided by the application. This dashboard must be role-based, so it means that we have to provide different impact, different experience, and different visibility level to different stakeholders within the company organization, with different level of details, different level of insight in the information, etc., etc. The dashboard is more perceived as a landing page from where you can then say utilize other application information. Top-down cost planning under the financial management, financial benefit management, CAPEX, OPEX, ERP integration in very high demand. And finally, last but not least, value realization is increasing and increasing in terms of emerging trend in the SPM, with the need of managing not only financial benefits. We have been worked for a number of years where the benefits were only financial benefits. Now we have to demonstrate that the project is having a good impact on financial benefits, of course, but also on non-financial benefits. It means that we have to look to ESG, to other stuff which are emerging and are very important for the portfolio manager to be taken care of. I went a bit long, sorry, but I'm enthusiastic about the topic, and we have just a few minutes for questions, and I will the ground to Ilaria now to check if there is any question about it.
Thank you, Joe, for the very interesting presentation, as usual. No, we don't have any questions related to the presentation, just someone asking if they can receive the presentation. Sure, of course, you will receive a follow-up email with both the recording of the session and the presentation shared by Joe, the deck presented by Joe during the webinar. If you have any questions, we have 3 minutes left. You can write your question in the dedicated panel in the dedicated section of the panel on your screen. In any case, you can get in touch any moment after the webinar to my email address. You have received my email for invitation to the webinar, and you can also reply to the follow-up email when I send you. We have a couple of minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Vishal, saying that was a nice presentation. Thank you. You are receiving compliments, Joe, for your presentation.
Even there was a slide with a copy and paste mistake that
we will definitely correct it before sending it out.
And we have done this presentation together before, so. But I was not reading the slide. That is the confirmation that I was not reading the slides. Okay. So thank you very much.
A lot of learning. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time, for your attention, and take care.
Thanks a lot. See you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.